Minister of Works Dave Umahi conducts first major inspector tour of federal projects in Lagos. Edo State government disband media crew attached to deputy governor amidst political rift. And on the foreign scene, Pakistani court suspends former Prime Minister Imran Khan's conviction on corruption charges. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. My name is EVELYN OHIOLEI. We begin in Lagos, where the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, visited the state this morning for his first major inspection tour of federal projects in the state. The site visitation started at Outer Marina Road in Victoria Island, a project constructed under the Sukuk financial option by the federal government. He then moved to the newly rehabilitated Echo Bridge, where he was briefed by officials of the ministries and contractors handling the project. As of press time, the minister is also expected to inspect the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, the reconstructed Apapa-Oshodi Expressway, the deep sea ports, and other federal government projects on the Lagos and Ogun corridor. After the former governor's first interview with Channels Television as minister, Nigerians from several parts of the country sent messages drawing his attention to the condition of federal roads in their areas. Still in Lagos, about a week after the State House of Assembly rejected 17 out of the 39 commissioner nominees sent by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the Speaker of the House, Mudashiru Obasa, says the lawmakers are not fighting the governor. The Speaker, who presided yesterday's plenary, said no matter the threat by some persons, the Assembly won't spill its discovery during the screening of the rejected commissioner nominees. He said no amount of intimidation will make the Assembly to change its constitutional decision on the rejected nominees of the governor. Honorable Obasa stating that he and the governor had come a long way as brothers, said the Assembly exercised its constitutional responsibility by confirming and rejecting some of the commissioner nominees of the governor.
If they have not done well, we have rights to say no. And we have said no. So we are not going to be threatened. And it is good to advise the man living in glass house not to throw stone. It is good for us to advise the man living in glass house not to throw stone. If not, the glass may soon be shattered. So that is my position to what has been going on, to the protests being planned, to the write-up, to the TV series, all that I've had. When they were planning, we have our friends. We also have our friends. So we are about the party, and we are about Lagos. And we continue to serve our people because we are representing their interests. We have been doing that before now, and we continue to do that. The people come first before any other person. It does not matter your degree. It does not matter your we are talking about Julius Berger, somebody is having Julius Berger, somebody is international. Who is not international among us? We have people who came from abroad to contest for Lagos, membership of Lagos House of Assembly. They are still here with us.
Moving on, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, ESM Wike, has warned that there would be no room for excuses from contractors. The former Rivers State governor gave the warning yesterday when he met with contractors in his office after the maiden Federal Executive Council meeting of the current administration. He declared that although the federal government is looking to increase funding for projects, the FCT administration will also consider its internally generated revenue. The minister also confirmed that President Bola Tinubu has approved 2 billion naira as palliative for the FCT. Confirming the approval of the 2 billion naira as palliative for FCT residents, the minister indicated that the fund will primarily solve the challenge of transportation.
Time has come for action. First of all, on the metro line, those of you who heard what Mr. President said yesterday, he did give a marching order that he wants to ride on the metro line. And so it's a key project that we must achieve. We also have found out that a lot of residents have complained about abandonment of projects in terms of road infrastructure. One basic thing that people understand and make a city is the road network. We're handling the issue of sanitation. We're handling the issue of street lights. We're also handling the issue of shanties and the rest of them. But the roads are very key. And so we're trying to see how we can map our strategies, structural funding, so that we don't have problems of completion. So we're determined, serious, to make sure every contractor goes back to site. Not just going back to site with direct supervision from my office and the office of the Minister of State. The major problem we've had, or we're having in this country, is lack of supervision. We are not going to tolerate anything below standard. If there are people we have been working with who have a compromising standard, too bad. It's not with me. Too bad. I'm not going to accept anything that below standard. In fact, for me, Abuja is easy to do construction here than to do construction in my state. And there are states where you have wetland and this is very difficult. So we're going to structure how we're going to fund you, how every contractor will go back to site and do work. Ordinarily, I would have gone back to look at performance or no performance. But I felt that I don't need to go by. Let's move forward. I've agreed with my Honorable Minister of State. I have told the management we must restructure the way projects are funded. We must not fund projects depending only on the national budget. We must also fund projects also through our generated revenue.
Following the opening of Cameroon's Lagdo Dam, the federal government has said that intense flooding will be experienced in some states in the next 7 days. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, gave this prediction on Monday when she hosted the Minister of Water Resources, Minister of Environment, as well as other stakeholders on ways to mitigate the impact of the flooding in Nigeria. The minister assured Nigerians that shelters will be provided to residents in flood-prone states. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, was alerted over impending flooding along the River Benue Basin. Now to security matters, the Ogun State Police Command has arrested 116 suspected cult members in the E4 area of the state during an alleged initiation and celebration of the 20th anniversary of Neo Black Movement. According to the State Commissioner of Police, Abiodun Alamutu, the suspects were arrested through useful information from members of the public. According to the police boss, the suspected cultists included 70 males and 46 females, noting that they were arrested at a hotel in Ifo. Items recovered from the suspects include cutlasses, axes, a gun, ammunition, and banners. Alamutu further warned cultists and other criminal elements to avoid the state, as the command would not tolerate any criminality in whatever guise. Meanwhile, troops of Operation Safe Haven on Operation Akorin Damisa 4 in Plateau State have intercepted a truck conveying vandalized railway tracks along Gidan Ado village in Riyom local government area of the state. Media Information Officer of Operation Safe Haven, Captain Oya James, in a press release, stated that troops also arrested some suspects involved in kidnapping and neutralized bandits, as well as recovered arms and ammunition during the operation. The release adds that 17 suspects in connection with various criminal activities were apprehended when a sting operation was carried out at Jagindi Tasha village in Jema local government area of Kaduna State. Other operations conducted by the troops resulted in the recovery of other firearms and ammunition, as well as the arrest of a drug baron in Jos South local government area of Plateau State. The troops also succeeded in foiling attempted attacks on some communities in Mango, leading to the neutralization of some bandits, in which one AK-47 rifle and a fabricated rifle were recovered. We move straight to Edo State. The state government has disbanded the media crew attached to the office of the Deputy Governor, Philip Shuaibu. This followed an incident at the Sir Victor Owaifo Creative Hub in Benin City, the state capital, on Monday. In a statement, the Commissioner for Communication and Orientation in the state, Chris Naikare, said the Deputy Governor's media crew tried to force their way into the hall where the state governor, Godwin Obaseki, and other invited dignitaries were seated to mark the 60th anniversary of Midwest referendum. He noted that the act was contrary to the accreditation protocol that had been established for media coverage of the event. It will be recalled that the deputy governor stormed out of the venue of the program after some of his aides were denied entry. You're watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We will be right back after this break. Stay with us.
Dramatist, playwright, and icon of Yoruba thematic arts, Duro Ladipo was born December 18, 1931 in Osogbo, southwest Nigeria. His clergyman father christened him Timothy. His other names, Duro Dola, Duro Shomo, Duro Rike, reflected his persona and the circumstances that surrounded his birth. The legendary stage actor had in several public fora identified himself as one of the greatest abikus born to die in this world. Family records reveal how he was born and died 13 times. The intertwining names he bore thus lent credence to his spiritism. Duro Ladipo was one of the best known and world-acclaimed Yoruba dramatists to emerge from post-colonial Africa. His notable works, Obakoso, Obawaja, and Moremi, took him beyond Africa to several parts of the world. By the time Duro Ladipo died on 11 March 1978, Nigeria's first cultural ambassador had acquired a towering image as an artist whose works adorned the frontage of Trenchard Hall, University of Ibadan. Western Spring Television identifies Duro Ladipo as a major character in history.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us right here on News at 12. Straight to some business news. Oil prices slipped this morning as worries that further possible U.S. interest rate hikes could pull down demand outweighed concerns that a tropical storm off the U.S. Gulf Coast may impact supply. Brent crude was down 0.2% at $84.23 a barrel by 6:40 GMT, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude shed 0.3% to $79.86. Investors await key U.S. economic data later this week that will help determine the path of interest rates this year and next. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell had on Friday said the U.S. Central Bank may need to raise rates further to cool stubborn inflation. Still in business, the U.S. dollar was subdued this morning after a strong run as traders held off from large bets ahead of a slew of economic data this week. Against a basket of currencies, the dollar eased 0.06% to 103.88 after slipping 0.2% on Monday. The index is up 2% this month and is coming off a run of 6 weeks of gains as resilient U.S. economic data bolstered expectations that rates may stay higher for longer, while the Japanese yen languished near levels that triggered an intervention last year. On the foreign scene, a two-judge bench of the Islamabad High Court has suspended former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan's recent conviction on corruption charges. Mr. Khan has been in prison since he was sentenced to 3 years on August 5th on charges of unlawfully selling state gifts during his tenure as Prime Minister from 2018 to 2022. As a result of the conviction, Mr. Khan was also barred for 5 years from contesting elections by the country's election commission. The cricketer turned politician, who is facing more than 100 cases since his ousted through a no-confidence vote in April 2022, is currently incarcerated in the northwestern Attock city. In the United Kingdom, thousands of air passengers have been suffering long delays and cancellations after a technical issue hit UK air traffic control systems. People are struck in the UK and abroad after National Air Traffic Services limited the number of planes landing. Airlines and airports warned there were still significant delays despite the issue being fixed within hours. UK's main airport, Heathrow, said late on Monday evening that schedules remain significantly disrupted, adding that people traveling today should contact their airlines before heading to the airport. Meanwhile, the UK Transport Secretary Mark Harper has said the incident yesterday was a technical issue and not a cybersecurity incident.
I know that it was incredibly disruptive for people yesterday, with a significant number of flights cancelled following their technical issue, and there is going to be some knock-on impact today and I suspect for another few days as airlines get their planes and get their services back to normal. I know how frustrating this is for passengers. I've had flights cancelled myself before. It is very frustrating, and the airlines do have a responsibility to look after their passengers and accommodate them and get them back on another flight if necessary. It was a technical issue with their flight planning system. The experts that look at these things have told me that it was not a cybersecurity incident, but we'll look at it in great detail to see what happened, what we can do to reduce the chances of it happening again, and whether there are any further things that can be put in place to reduce this sort of issue.
Here in Africa, Sudan's Armed Forces Chief General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan has left the country on a flight to Egypt to meet President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. It is the first time Sudan's military ruler has left the country since the conflict broke out there in April between the army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF. The Egyptian president has backed General Burhan during the war, which the UN says has now forced more than 4 million Sudanese to flee their homes. Up until just a few days ago, the Sudanese military leader was holed up inside the army headquarters in Khartoum. Now we talk sports. Chelsea striker Romelu Lukaku is set to join Serie A side Roma on a season-long loan. The deal includes an £8 million loan fee, and Roma will be covering the 30-year-old Belgium international's wages. Inter Milan had hoped Lukaku, who is not part of Mauricio Pochettino's plans at Chelsea, would return to the club where he spent last season on loan. But the forward was unhappy. Coach Simone Inzaghi did not start him in the Champions League final. Juventus were also keen to sign Lukaku, but they were unable to make the changes required to their squad. There are still some details to be finalized, but the agreement for his return to Italy is essentially done. Now, to tennis, Novak Djokovic has replaced young rival Carlos Alcaraz as the men's world #1 after a routine win on his US Open return. Serbia's Djokovic, who lost the Wimbledon final to Alcaraz, won 6-love, 6-2, 6-3 against France's Alexander Müller in Monday's night session in New York. Djokovic, 36 years, was not allowed to play in the United States last year because he was not vaccinated against COVID-19. He has returned knowing another title will be a record equal 24th major. Djokovic, speaking after the game, said despite quite late, he was excited to go out on the court, noting that it has been a couple of years. The Cebu will spend a record-extending 390th week at the top of the ATP rankings. An exciting feeling there for Djokovic. Congratulations to him. And that's all we have for you at this hour. But before we end the news, here is a recap of our top stories. The Minister of Works, David Mahi, visited Lagos State this morning for his first major inspection tour of federal projects in the state. The Edo State government has disbanded the media crew attached to the office of the Deputy Governor, Philip Shuaibu. And on the foreign scene, a two-judge bench of Islamabad High Court has suspended former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan's recent conviction on corruption charges. Remember to follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram and X at Western Spring Television. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. That ends Spring News at 12. I am EVELYN OHIOLEI. Thank you so much for your time.